across every host, a part of the Big 12 family. We compiled our votes, and we have the teams that will play in Arlington. And obviously, we won't be wrong, right? That's revealed next. This is the Dos Grande Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Dos Grande Squad. Drake Toll with you from Locked On Big 12. There's Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs, talking all things Houston. Jay Catch of Locked On Cougars. That's BYU. Confusing, I know. There's Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State. JT Wister still talks all things Utes. Philip Mulford with the Sun Devils and Mountaineer Paul, West Virginia. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day. And today's show is the ultimate Big 12 season preview. And man, as we break down the teams that will go to the Big 12 title this year, the college football playoff contenders, and each person will make a case for their team to be good in 2026, I thought today was going to be really boring. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job, because everyone pretty much said BYU and Texas Tech will finish in the top two in the Big 12. That was nearly consensus with the votes that we got. We compiled all of the hosts from the Big 12 family, except for one. One brave man decided to go against the grain and pick his own team in the Big 12 title. Bet you can guess, JT Wistersill has the Utah Utes taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders at Arlington at the end of the year. So let's start right there. JT.
Homer. Just a little bit.
Gets paid to do the whole Utah thing. I don't know. It's just me.
Says Locked On BYU too. Okay, diving into what we're actually here to talk about. Let's talk about what the truth is about this conference, guys. This is the constant conference of chaos. When does it ever go to chalk?
Because it'd be so chaotic if Utah went to the Big 12 title.
Yeah,
so
what
chaotic.
are you talking about?
I'm saying little bit of a shakeup. Can we shake it up a little bit rather than just BYU Tech?
Why?
And because I don't think
shake it up with West Virginia. Shake it up with Houston.
Yes, West Virginia did shake it up a little bit, but it never plays out that way. Remember, by the way, last year we all thought Arizona State, and also a reminder of a stat, no current Big 12 member since 2004 Colorado has made back-to-back Big 12 title games. I think Tech's breaking that this year. I don't know if BYU is going to get there. So that's just where I have questions, and scheduling played a big role in why I think Utah is making it there.
Oh, well, but let me push back a bit if I can. Yeah. That stat means nothing to this season, it's an anomaly for sure, but I don't think BYU is shoot,
and it really means nothing pre-NIL transfer portal world where the whole way you build a team is different, the coaching's different.
But okay, again, if I can push back, I'm going to help JT here a little bit. Indiana just proved that JT's point's kind of correct, that parity and the last thing you expect is common in college football now, to the point that Mountaineer Paul or Cody Stovall can make a point on their teams being in the Big 12 title.
That's actually what I was going to say, is the shakeup would be much like Arizona State going from 0 to hero, Oklahoma State going 0. Yeah. That's the map out, right? It's new coach, new quarterback, they score 50 points a game, right? That's the thing that breaks it. I also think it's you talk about schedule and what but at JT, Utah lost 5 offensive linemen.
Yes.
That seems pretty important. You're relying a lot on this coach. We haven't seen coach be the head football coach in a football game before. I didn't have them in my top 5 personally. When we asked and you're having the game, I don't think putting one of the 4 AP poll ranked teams in the championship game is shaking it up a whole lot. And I also still don't think it's right. I kind of fall both sides of the coin.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't think year over year we don't see chalk in this conference, so I don't think it's going to change. And also I have real gripes about BYU, obviously. I think every team in this league has something you could throw out there. I mean, Will Hammond's coming off a major injury. Is he really going to be the guy? Also, BYU, I know we're acting like they didn't lose their defensive coordinator. Jay Hill was pretty dang good, so I feel like every team in this league has a major question, obviously Utah included.
Is this where we start to make the argument that Colorado's got the go-go offense and they're going to win the Big 12 this year?
Oh,
that is where
Brendan Marion. Brendan Marion saves Colorado and Kevin Torba.
I do kind of love Brendan Marion though.
But still.
Why are we poo-poo on BYU so much in here? Like, aren't they the team that returns the most?
One of us did that.
That happens to be the Utah guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to JT, and I'm pretty sure last time I checked, Utah still doesn't have Hoss Haney at quarterback. So y'all need to calm down on this AP top 25 hooligan.
Yeah, how are they ranked top 25?
It's insane.
Very good
I don't mean to derail,
brand
but
power.
I am curious why
You're talking about Utah?
Brand power?
Yeah,
We're talking about Utah.
Why do you keep acting like BYU?
They have one of the best returning quarterbacks in the league. One of the easiest schedules. Also, Cody, you doubted that Utah was going to win 10 games last year. In fact, I did pull this quote from Cody from last year's Big 12 squad show. I think I have a better chance of turning into a lizard and growing a new tail and a leg than Utah does of winning 9 games. That's what you doubted the Utes last year. That's the true Cody so far.
He's got the receipts.
It's because he doesn't have a leg. I can't believe it. Hey, JT, I appreciate your deflection, okay, but it doesn't still change the fact that you still don't have Hoss Haney at quarterback, all right? And number 2 is BYU is clearly the team to beat in the league, and then Texas Tech is filled with a bunch of potential NFL dudes, so I understand them. You could make the argument for a bunch of teams that could play BYU, but to act like BYU is not the strongest team in the conference before we kick off, it's crazy.
I didn't say that.
I do think. Cody,
by the way, we need the good context. Cody has one leg, by the way. Like for him to have said a year ago.
No. We should probably stress that that's not a running joke. That's a real thing.
It's a real thing. For him to have said that he was going to grow a second leg before something happens is such a bar. It's such a bar.
At least he didn't say third leg. You know, that would have been similarly as awkward.
But I think it's
a stronger case for Utah. I mean, they're almost
JT. Guess what? It's all no. Why? Give me one good reason why BYU is going to sink below number 2 in this conference, JT. Give me a good reason. Go.
Well, they play at Utah for number 1, and they also have some other very tough road games, in my opinion. They could absolutely lose at TCU. Jake, I know you're going to say I'm crazy. You all did trail by 14 to UCF last year at home. Who's to say crazy things can't happen in a cross-country road game late in the season there, too? I don't think it's that crazy to say BYU goes 9-3, has 2 conference losses, one of those coming to Utah. Noah Fafita comes into your house. I think that's the best quarterback in the Big 12, too. And you still have questions on defense. I'm sorry. Jay Hill was a huge part of your success last year, and he's gone.
All right, I want to play this game. Talk me through Houston. What's our problem?
Yeah.
You guys, offensive line. You got to see if this offensive line is still going to be.
We got a preseason first-team All-American.
JT, you were too high on somebody's supply.
Like I would give you Utah last year. This year, with how many players did you lose in the portal this year? You lost your head coach.
Not as many as we lost a couple of years before. They still returned a lot. Don't get me wrong. Utah has key losses, but they have some of their toughest games at home. Houston comes to them. BYU comes to them, too. They go to Arizona.
You said Houston's problems offensive line. They added a preseason All-American, first-team All-American, but you're putting Utah in the title game after losing all 5 offensive linemen.
And 4 other pieces and parts. Devin Dampierre is better than Connor Wigman, number 1. And once again, schedule. You guys come to us.
Whoa, bro.
Heisman apparently is what we're hearing.
Quarterback ranking that has Wigman over Dampierre. I genuinely haven't seen one. I'm not even trying to be a hot take guy there.
I don't think that's so big of a hot take. I think it's a close quarterback argument. It's close.
Okay, so
I got everyone to agree.
if they were in a foot race, Devin Dampierre would cook Connor.
Connor 70 yards rushing last year, 36 total touchdowns.
He was really good. He's really good. So
undefeated, and you mentioned they play in Utah, but Houston was undefeated on the road last season. I mean, like these are things that happen too, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
Also, no big deal. All-time program record against Utah is 5-0. That's the way things go, though. And
here's the other thing about this, JT. You say BYU has question marks on defense. They return 4 starting defensive linemen. They've got at least 6 deep in the linebacking core. They lose 1 safety in their secondary. They've got all conference caliber guys at every level of this defense. There's question marks.
Pass rush. Come on, pass rush. You and I both know they
got done without the pass rush the last 3 years, and they beat your team.
Yes, they've been very good, but year-over-year success. You guys also won some very close games last year, too.
23-4 the past 2 years with wins over your team.
Yes, if there's one thing,
Brandon Rose nearly beat y'all. That's still something.
If there's one thing we can agree on, it's that I am right. Again,
just like when you had Arizona second to last year in your conference preseason rankings, by the way.
I also had the perfect Big 12 title game with who would win it.
You did.
Now, if we are all in agreement here, I am right in saying that Utah is the most important fan base in the Big 12. Because if not for JT, this would have been a 3-minute segment. Oh, we all agree. All right, high five. We move on.
Okay, there we go.
Instead,
I'll give you that one.
The content's incredible because Utah drives the narrative, and them driving the narrative is fun for everyone involved. So that is everyone else pretty much in agreement. BYU and Texas Tech, aside from JT driving the narrative, and it makes for great podcasting. Coming up, what do you want to wait on, huh? We're 4 minutes over. What do you want to wait on?
I think Paul would have actually driven the segment if you let him.
Paul can drive the next segment. Who's going to the playoffs that you don't expect out of the Big 12? This is the Dose Grande squad. Hello, friends. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Kalshi. Look, man, Kalshi is exactly where I go because I think in the NFL, right? It's like predictive market with Kalshi. I believe the Rams will go to the Super Bowl, not just go to the playoffs. I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. And with Kalshi right now, I can predict such against my peers before the season even kicks off. So I'll say the Rams qualify for the Super Bowl. Right now, the Rams are trading at 25% probability to go to the Super Bowl, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $400 if they go to the Super Bowl. I think they will. On Kalshi, again, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. As the probability changes, you can buy in and buy out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app. Use code LOCKEDON to get $10 off when you trade $10. KALSHI Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions to eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory with our friends at Kalshi. It is the Dose Grande Squad Prediction Edition. We're breaking down and taking you through the Big 12 in 2026. And it's time for our playoff contenders in the Big 12 Conference. Now, we've already said BYU and Texas Tech are the top two, according to the Court of Public Opinion from the Big 12 family. And now let's break down teams like a Houston, a Utah. Phil is here with Arizona State, or Mountaineer Paul, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. And let's start it with Cody. Cody, are you following? Because I've heard this comparison a lot now. Is Oklahoma State, who's getting votes in the AP and coaches poll after going 2-10, 3-9, losing to Tulsa, do you believe that you truly have the Indiana formula figured out?
100%. Maybe not figured out, but if there's any team in the country that has replicated precisely what Curt Cignetti did, it is Oklahoma State. He took all of his top players from JMU, and it was the same conversation, right? It was the same thing that people are saying about the North Texas players. Well, there's a big jump up in competition, so it's going to take them some time, and they might be lucky to get bowl eligible. I just don't see how that you can view Drew Messmaker as anything other than a potential top 15 overall pick. And whenever you have an NFL draft pick at quarterback, that is going to be able to drive the bus. The defense is going to be a massive question, but the offense is going to be one of the top in the country. And I think all of us have seen enough Big 12 play over the years to know that if you can put up 45, 55 points a game, you're going to give yourself a chance more often than not. And Oklahoma State has an offense that is easily good enough to do that.
Hatch, what was that stank face for?
Well, the thing about it is you look at a program like Oklahoma State, while you want to nail the Indiana, like the formula there, the problem I have is Eric Morris is turning over a program that I don't know. I don't know. JT.
Indiana, man.
You know, also, did Curt Cignetti take over Indiana when they were cruising?
Yeah, Indiana.
It was a 2-year project for Indiana. Remember, they went to the playoffs the first year.
They won 11 games in year one.
It was like a 3-week project. They went to the playoff immediately. We're talking about playoff contenders. And the segment's about playoffs. Indiana was a 1-year playoff team.
Okay, fair. Okay, you got me on that. I think it's going to take longer than what Oklahoma State's planning on. That's just my personal opinion.
But yeah, that's exactly
what is the difference? Do you think it's Cignetti? Is that what makes him different?
I really do think Cignetti plays a role in it. But Eric Morris, I will just say this about Eric Morris: he knows the Big 12. That is you can't say that he doesn't know the Big 12. So he knows the lay of the land. I'm just afraid that the talent acquisition at Indiana went faster than what Oklahoma State has got. I'd be happy to be wrong, though.
The average age of Indiana was really interesting, too, with that run. Average age, 23 years old. I wonder how much of a factor that actually played to their
That's older than me.
Saying that Indiana won't be, saying that Oklahoma State won't be Indiana is not an insult. Like Eric Morris could be a very good coach and not be Kurt Signetti, maybe the best coach we've seen in some time in college football.
Yeah, correct. I just wanted to like Hatch saying that Indiana was a 2-year process. Like if we're just talking playoff, then we are like it could be 1 year.
I was thinking more for the national title contender status.
No, he took a bunch of JMU dudes and won 11 games and went to the playoff in year 1.
He built a much more complete team, though.
So my thing is really more about the defense side of the football was much more filled out when he got to Indiana. I'm with Cody. I think that Oklahoma State could score 40, 45 points a game, like very quickly. Like they got that kind of offense. But if you're giving up 45 or 50, because to be in the Big 12 and make the playoff, you got to win a lot of games. You can't be 9-3. Like you need to be 11-1, 12-1, because they send the Big 12 championship winner, and you were also 12-0 going in. Like it's that kind of an uphill battle, and you can't have a slip up where you lose 55-54 like that.
Well, I'll add this, and then I'll shut up for the rest of the segment. I know it's hard for me. But
I don't believe you're going to shut up. That's just personal.
Okay, that's the quote JT's going to use this time next year. Cody Stovall a year ago said, "I'm going to shut up."
100% right. Yeah, no, I actually think that this is a year that we do get multiple teams into the CFP, and let me tell you why. I do think that public outcry is important. Just like people were whining and complaining about there's not enough G5 teams in. The very next year, they let 2 G5 teams in. I think the fact that BYU has been screwed 2 years in a row, there's been a massive public outcry, even outside of Big 12 country. I think that they do let 2 teams in the Big 12 this year, especially if it's BYU and Texas Tech. I'll also add, I hate freaking saying this, JT, shut your eyes, shut your ears, get off the screen. We could potentially get 3 in if Utah is in the conversation, because as much as I hate it, Utah does carry that Big 12, that Pac-12, pillow fight success into the Big 12. So they do carry a big name. And if you get Utah into that top 12 conversation, they'll probably let them in.
Yeah, still the nicest thing he's ever said to me.
Yeah, but defense, the defense is brought up here, a pretty prevalent part of the conversation. I think Houston has still one of the most underrated defenses in the Big 12. I think Houston is my third fiddle to BYU and Texas Tech as far as playoff conversation goes.
Yeah.
I don't want to pat myself in the back too much. I really do think, though, that they objectively, last year's team was a 9-win team in the regular season. They also won the bowl game too.
Thank you. That's
and for metrics that are not my own, on 3, 24/7, the rivals on 3, they got better at every position. They have consistency in terms of health and returning coaching staff. They bring back both coordinators. Like they got better at every spot, either through transfer or through just natural growth in the development of players, and a system that William Fritz has developed players into. He turned Tulane into a winner that's lasted since do you remember what Tulane was in 2018? Like 2018, Tulane's still winning. Like it's residual after he left, right? And I think that all matters. I actually think the wild card here, though, and people think I hate Paul. I actually think Paul's really awesome. But I think West Virginia, and they got a great running back. They have a really tough place to play. I think they're going to win games that they probably wouldn't on a neutral field because of both of those things. And I think that's kind of a wild card that, Drake had it in his top 5, and so I probably also shouldn't pump Drake up too much. But I think that's a wild card in this thing too, is that Ridgerod's won as well.
West Virginia playoff team. We about to go there?
Oh gosh, that's a lot.
Paul would be.
I can make a pretty good case.
Paul's happened.
Paul, I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute.
Okay, a minute. We have 11 offensive linemen that are playable at the Power 4 level. That's per Rick Trickett. That's not me saying that. A guy that's been doing this for 50 years. Our starting center from last year that's getting Remington Award votes is in third stringer on this team right now. It's the best offensive line we've had in over a decade. We've got guys all over the offensive line that are elite. The nation's leader last year coming back, a quarterback that runs 4.3, 3 starting wide receivers that have all amassed over 500 yards in the season and are probably ascending. And Zach Alley, who I still think could potentially be the best defensive coordinator in this league someday, is in year 2 with a bunch of athletes. I did a 3 deep yesterday. We are 3 deep at almost every position, and I'm not exaggerating that. I can walk you through it if you want me to. So I think this is a really deep team at every position. It really is.
Well, and I wasn't trying. I mean, every coach loves their guys in August. I really was saying though, I think that the starters are pretty strong. Like I'm impressed by some of the guys they brought in at the top end, not just the depth of it all.
We got to see a lot more from Hawkins before I can go playoff team.
Sure.
He's had an amazing camp.
We haven't seen anything from Morgan Scally. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was a great defensive coordinator for the last 10 years. I think it's better than nothing.
Will Muschamp was a great defensive coordinator. Now what? Now what, boys?
Rich Rodriguez.
I think it's different taking over something you've built that's been very successful. He's taking over and stepping into these shoes that Morgan's built.
We have seen very good. We have seen Saturday nights in Morgantown make weird things happen for them, and we have seen that running back
and their schedule. Can I give you just real quick the schedule for West Virginia?
I've told Paul I am so happy we catch West Virginia first conference game of the year, and it's in the morning. So happy.
Yeah. West Virginia gets Coastal, UT Martin, Virginia, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Arizona, Cincinnati are all basically home games. Virginia's a neutral site. You're not on the road till at least week 5. You play either a neutral site or a home game up until week 5. So I think the schedule works out for you to win like seven games before the break.
If we're trying to follow the Indiana model too, just pulling up their schedule from 2024 when they made the playoff and they got blown out, or they got blown out once at the end of the Big Ten regular season, and then they lost in the first playoff game. Their like opponents have no numbers next to them, right? They had a really, really easy schedule to do. It's kind of part of the magic the first year.
Sure.
Hey, y'all sleeping on Arizona. I think.
No, we're not.
I think everyone agrees that Fafita is him, but outside of Noah.
Their secondary is not going to be anything this year.
In the same way that Sawyer Robertson had the NFL pedigree, didn't make it, but in the same way that he was like a scary quarterback, I see a regression for Arizona in 2026. Let's go to the most important game in the Big 12 Conference, as well as everyone gives a 30-second blurb on why their team will compete for the Big 12 title. It's Locked On Big 12 Squad. Hey, today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go because I know that I can just go ahead and tell, hey, boop, 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 hey, FanDuel. I think the daily dinger today is going to be Nolan Shonowell. You're like, who the hell is Nolan Shonowell? Well, Nolan Shonowell plays first base for the Angels, and he's a friend of mine. We worked together for years. So I'm a big Nolan. When Nolan hits a home run, well, then guess what? I can go on FanDuel, and I can get a home run daily dinger profit boost to use on my next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Daily dinger is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games. That's one of my favorite parts of baseball, by the way, is bringing the fresh matchup. It's like, hey, no one's facing a lefty today. Great. Awesome. Better chance for a home run. Are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com to play daily dingers. Play ball. Swing the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Download the FanDuel app and do it today with FanDuel. It is the Dose Grande squad. We're talking most important matchup of the Big 12 this season. I am going to assert, and then we can kind of go one by one from here. I'm going to assert the most important matchup for the conference, like storyline wise, futuristic. BYU Notre Dame. Kind of tough to, it's kind of tough to get around that one. If Arizona State beats A&M, that's another massive one. Oklahoma State, Oregon. The thing is, I think the cachet of a BYU beating a Notre Dame is going to boost having a top 15 Big 12 team win a game against a top 10 team boosts the conference to the top. Take a little more work to get the respect nationally. So I think the most important game this year for the Big 12 conference is BYU Notre Dame. If that's established, pretty close to the top. Other ones that we throw out there as being important games.
Holy War?
I would push back on that a little bit. I don't expect us to beat Oregon, but I think if we were to beat Oregon, that would be a little bit bigger than BYU beating Notre Dame personally.
It would be insane. Yeah,
it'd be crazy for sure. It's just like people would look at it and they would say, it's like Florida State, Alabama. BYU over Notre Dame would have immediate legitimacy. If Oklahoma State beats Oregon, the country would say like, oh, they still need to prove themselves, like Colorado or TCU.
I forgot they were supposed to play in a bowl game and didn't. That adds a little. That adds a little spice.
So you need games that are really going to count, because I don't know if West Virginia beating Virginia is that. Even though Virginia won 11 games last year,
right?
And return a lot of their same players and added to it. They're really good, but I don't think that win does a lot for the conference and maybe the middle of the year, maybe at the end of the year.
What about in conference then? Because BYU, BYU Arizona,
BYU Arizona and BYU Utah, from my vantage point, are games because BYU Arizona sets the tone for the rest of the Big 12 season because it's week 2. It's the Big 12 opener. 2 teams who have aspirations of being Big 12 title contenders. And then down the line, as it often is the case, BYU and Utah are going to tussle, and whoever wins that game likely has an inside track of the Big 12 title game. So I think those, from my vantage point, are 2 huge games.
Houston, for a lot of the same reasons, Houston, Texas Tech. For the same
Houston,
reasons.
Texas Tech.
That was going to be Utah. Yeah.
Houston, Texas Tech opens up the season. This is week 3. We will see what Will Hammond looks like in a real game, right? And I mean, he's out there practicing whatever, I guess, in shorts. And I think the other thing about that too is that like last year when Houston like beat Arizona State or whatever, like there was kind of this like weird asterisk. I'm like, yeah, but like we saw them against Texas Tech, and like if Houston just keeps it within a score on the road in Lubbock, I think there's somebody's better like, hey, that could be a rematch again in Arlington because Utah is a game on the road, sure, but like the rest of their schedule is not as challenging. A weird game in West Virginia. I keep talking about that road environment, but like they don't play Arizona, don't play Arizona State, don't play BYU. Like I mean, that all shapes up pretty well for them if they can have a close competitive game, let alone win in Lubbock on that 3rd week of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think West Virginia, Houston, West Virginia, Oklahoma State could be games by the end of the year that you look back and say were really important games. Clearly, West Virginia plays, obviously, Houston, Texas Tech down the stretch, that Houston, Utah as well. So those are 3 games down the stretch. If West Virginia is what I think they can be, we're going to know by the last 4 games whether they're going to be in the mix or not. So those could end up being big games based on our first 8 games, which are really easy. And
there's also
a couple games.
There's a really good argument as well. Same idea that the Territorial Cup is going to be a really big one this year. If we, I don't even say if we beat A&M, but if we play them really close, because we're playing Cal Field week 2, that is such a difficult environment. But if we carry that cachet of the wonderful quality of loss going in, we go 1-1 with Texas Tech and BYU. There's a very real world where that Territorial Cup is for the 2nd slot in the Big 12 championship. And and especially if Arizona State makes it happen, we have by far the most difficult schedule in the entirety of the conference. And so if we're playing for that title game, then there's your 2-3 teams in the college football playoffs. Because like I don't think if Texas Tech is the 3rd team in the Big 12, they're not going to the national championship, or they're not going to the college football playoffs. They have an awful schedule.
But
Arizona State does with our top 30 strength of schedule.
It would take a 2 12-0s and an 11-1 Texas Tech, and then the playoff committee is really upset. They're very not happy at that point. Let's do this. We have a few minutes left here. Let's go 30 seconds. I'm going to time it out. Each member of the squad, why their school will be at least a competitor of the conference. Parker, let's start with you.
They get Tech earlier than anyone else here. They also, frankly, have a fairly easy schedule as far as things go nationally. Road trip to Utah. I keep talking about the road trip to West Virginia at the end of the year is tricky. But they get Oklahoma State at home. They get Kansas State relatively early in the year as well. And they don't play half the top end contenders in the conference either.
Hatch, BYU.
Just do what BYU's been doing. They've gone 23-4 the past 2 years. If it wasn't for a fluky play against Kansas, they've likely been to 2 Big 12 title games in a row at this point. So I just think you keep doing what you're doing if you're BYU. Schedule does shape up for BYU as well. Yes, you do have to go to Utah, but the other games, in terms of title contenders, Arizona State, you get those games at home. So I think if BYU just keeps doing what they have done the past 2 years, 23 wins, that's nothing to sniff at. And if they just keep doing it, I think they've got a good shot to make a repeat appearance at Jerry World.
Cody, maybe the darling of the Big 12, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I've talked enough about the offense. I think a lot of the country knows a lot about the offense. I'm excited about the defensive side of the ball. Skylar Cassidy was very opportunistic, top 5 in the country in turnovers, top 5 in the country in turnover margin this previous season at North Texas. And he didn't have the Anaya Weiss from Penn State and the Isaiah Chisholm's coming over from UCLA. He didn't have access to some of those guys at North Texas that he does now. And lastly, I'll say the best defense in Oklahoma State history is 2021. We finished the season number 2 total defense in America. This defensive line is bigger and deeper than the 21 team. I'm not saying better, but physically we are taller. We have more weight mass on us, and we have a much deeper rotation than we had in 2021. If our defense is above average, we could make a serious run.
JT, the Utes.
Devin Dampier, one of the best returning quarterbacks in the Big 12. I think Wayshawn Parker will be one of the best running backs in this conference. An improved wide receiver core, an experienced veteran offensive line in terms of how long they've been with this team. It's not a lot of young guys. It's a lot of veterans who have been waiting for their time, their turn, their opportunity. 6th, 7th year guys. I think they're ready. Defense led by Morgan Scalley still, who's done a great job leading the charge. A lot of returning production there too. And a very favorable schedule to figure out the questions this team does have to start the year. Some big games at home. I like the Utes to go to Arlington.
That was 29 seconds. Really good. Philip Mulford, Arizona State.
Best wide receiver core in the entirety of the Big 12. One of the best linebackers in the Big 12 in Owen Long. This guy is getting Tillman comparisons in practice right now. You have a great, super deep running back room. Oh, and our schedule is actually a good thing for us if we can execute on it. We have the most difficult schedule in the entire conference. If that works out, we have a better argument to go and make a deep run than anyone else in this conference if we can make it happen.
Paul, if you can keep it under 30 seconds, I might give you this month's salary. Like I'm good luck, my friend.
West Virginia is a legitimate playoff contender because Rich Rod finally has a roster built for his system. Mike Hawkins Jr. has been the buzz of camp, and if he continues that, I think could be a dynamic dual threat. Obviously, Cam Cook's all Big 12 caliber, the offensive line, potentially elite and defensively. They're bigger, faster, and deeper than they were a year ago. And most importantly, the Big 12 is wide open. You don't have to have, it's not 4 teams anymore. It's now more than that, obviously, and 7 home games. There's a path for West Virginia to the playoff.
That's right. I can't believe it. That was from 30-05 to 30-35. That is incredible.
Say Mike Hawkins 3 times fast. Really fast. really fast.
No. You know, I thought about it. I sat down and thought about it. I was doing the schedule.
Bigger, stronger.
Baylor might go undefeated. You know, just to represent the Bears for a second. There's a path where
David Randers can be lost for the next 20 years if that happens.
Where DJ quarterback.
They have to play in the Valley of the Sun like week 4. That's not going to happen.
You're right. Fine. 3-9. I concede. Fine. No, I think Baylor will make a bowl game. But I
what about TCU? We didn't talk about them at all.
Ooh,
I think
we should have. I do like Jaden Craig.
Yeah, I think TCU is between 7 and 9 wins. Defense. I'd put $100 right now between 7 and 9 wins, and that's just like, all right, okay, it's no less, no more.
They're going to look really good in week 0. They're going to look really good in week 0.
Oh yeah, against North Carolina. Oh yeah, that is Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs, Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougars, Cody Stovall Locked On Oklahoma State, JT Westerso Locked On Utes, Philip Mulford Locked On Arizona State. That is Locked On Sun Devils, I should say. Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia. Drake Toll with you, and there is our preview. That's what you can bet on for 2026 on FanDuel. This has been, always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. The Dose Grande Squad.